Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to put together this big bass card, and I have to say it turned out awesome. We added an action wobble behind the bass so it actually looks like it's jumping out of the water, which makes it super fun. The whole front is layered up with a woodsy background, almost like building a painting out of paper. And we also included inserts for Father's Day, birthdays, and even one specifically from a wife. So you've got options. Let's get started. The front of the card, we're going to do this in two sections. One is the actual little background, and here is the main layer. You can see that I inked just around the top half, I guess you could say, since most of it is going to be covered up with other elements. It's not really necessary to ink areas that are ultimately going to be covered up, so don't waste your time on that. We'll get this layer glued down, and this is where kind of channeling the late great Bob Ross with a little landscape. And then of course here's an action wobble, and this is what's going to make the fish sort of look like it's hopping out of the water. And what is that? That's an eyeball. Okay. All right, next, I'm going to put this white layer down, and that is going to go bottom. And make sure that that is aligned with the bottom. And just kind of layering a beautiful scene for our fish. And it just occurred to me that maybe what we could do is create another fish variety. I know not everyone bass fishes. For those of you that are, well, actually I think people in Florida still bass fish. I remember when I was in Orlando, we were at Universal Studios, and I saw some actual, well, I think it was spawn season for the bass, and there were a ton of beds everywhere, which is kind of interesting. I think your bass are a lot bigger than they are up here in the Midwest. Not always, but I think for the most part, that's safe to say. All right, next we're gonna put this blue layer down. That's for our water. And again, I just kind of hit it with ink around here since a lot of it is gonna be covered up. And let's focus on the larger areas first. Avoid the little cutouts for the little water details there. And then we'll throw some on the trees as well. You don't need to get it on every inch of this, but do your best to, especially up at the tips of the trees, so that they don't come off or get snagged, like so. And this again is going to be anchored and aligned flush on the bottom. It's kind of appropriate. Tomorrow I'm going up to Eagle River in Wisconsin, and this is kind of what it's going to look like, hopefully, if the weather cooperates. Beautiful evergreens. Okay. Now there's another element. This is going to go right here. There's another element of this that you can either glue down flat, or you might be able to foam square it if you want to add a little more dimension to this card. And I'll kind of point out what that is here in just a moment, but I'm going to get this part down first. There we go. That looks nice. Make sure it's nice and level and straight. Okay, this is the element that I'm talking about. I'm going to leave that off for just a moment, but we can at least get it glued together. And I cut this out of a pearlescent just to kind of give it just a little bling. We were thinking about maybe using glitter, but it being a masculine card, I didn't think that was, not that it isn't appropriate, I just don't know if it goes with the vibe. But this way, this kind of has a little bit of a glimmer to it. Okay, so that's going to go right on top of this piece, like so. Just line that up as accurately as you can. There we go. I'll push that down from the other side. And like I said, this one here, this is going to go right here. And you could totally add a little bit of, you can put some foam squares on this and pop it out. So I may do that, but before we do, we have a few little elements that need to go on this blue layer. This one, for example. And I just cleaned out my bottle, and it's already giving me trouble. And we have a super detailed little bass that we're going to put together. And again, we're going to do that separately so that you can either A, if you have foam squares, you can foam square it, or B, if you grab yourself, or if you have in your stash some action wobbles, you can use those to really kind of set this thing off and bring it to life, which was the idea. I love adding action and dimension and all sorts of interesting things to what, well, I guess you can say that just trying to do everything we can to make a card more than just a card. Okay, so that's going to go right in the corner, like so. Pardon my head, I don't know if it was in the way. That looks nice. Okay, now let's build the little tree line here. Okay, this part is going to go on first. There's another eyeball, part of an eyeball. Okay, so this brown layer is going to go on first, like so. So let's go ahead and, again, starting on the thicker part of this, and then we'll put a little bit on the trees so that they don't get snagged. And I'm going to have to go clean my nozzle out again. Okay, just match this up with the existing little evergreens that are there. Try to get them right on top so everything matches up nicely. And that those previous layers are going to help sort of create that depth that we're looking for. I didn't get enough on the tips of these evergreens, but that's okay. I'll show you a little tip on what you can do to fix that, should that happen to you. Grab yourself a scrap piece of paper and just put a little bit of glue on there, and then just paint it on the underside. Had a little too much there, it's okay. First not enough, then too much. That's how it goes. Okay. All right, next we can put this layer down. A lot more detail here, so maybe just use a series of little dots throughout so that we don't accidentally get a bunch of glue on the layer underneath. And again, hit the tips of those little evergreens, make sure they stay in place. Inking this is, well, in some areas possible. In others, I'm not sure it's worth it. I think there's enough going on here to where kind of just will probably look great even without the inking. Okay, so there's that. Then we have a few layers here, a few additional layers that we'll get in. Throw a little glue on there. I think any fisherman is really going to love this card. Fortunately, you know, this has happened before, like last year or the year before. We made a bundle where we featured a classic car, tried to find one of the more popular ones. But of course, you know, not everyone resonates with that specific car. It was a 57 Chevy, or at least something that looked similar to it. But bass fishing is the most popular fishing. So hopefully it resonates with enough people. All right, now we're going to put the little tree line in. If you have some cool pattern paper that you want to use for the skyline, you can. I kept it the same color as the envelope, just so everything coordinated. I think the ones that I had maybe weren't exactly, well, the tones just didn't quite work. So I went with a kind of a generic sky, so to speak, but it's still going to turn out nice. And I can see the nice layering here. You can see the little shadows that the trees are leaving. It's really cool. All right, let's get the last set of evergreens in place, and then we can work on our bass. I did include a series of inserts for this as well. You can use this for a birthday, you can use this for Father's Day, and then we also have a Father's Day one that is from a wife. So talking to you, if you want to give one to your husband for Father's Day, you can do that. There's usually a reference to children of some sort, obviously, if you're a dad. There we go. Okay. And there is our scene, nice and dimensional. Okay, so as I mentioned, this you can put down flat. I'm going to actually get some foam squares and add some dimension to this. And then our fish, obviously, is also going to be dimensional, meaning, well, with the help of our little action wobble, we'll grab as many of these as I can kind of fit on there without getting obnoxious about it. And these, by the way, you can cut these if you need some smaller ones. Like I just need a little tiny one that I can put right here, just to kind of keep that section afloat. Okay, let's peel this off. And the action wobble is technically taller than this, so it should not obstruct it from wobbling. Okay. And there's some subtle inking on the fish as well. Tried to leave as many open areas or open sections as possible to allow for inking. And there we go. Okay, so that's nice and dimensional, love it. All right, let's take a look at our bass. And first thing I'm going to do is actually just kind of put together some of the smaller layers, and then we can affix those to our bass once we have these all in place. So there's his little tail fin, or his tail. I don't know if it's called a tail fin. Is it called a tail fin? I just catch them. I don't know their anatomy. Okay, doing just little dots. Beautiful detail on this. A lot of little detail. Fine detail. Get that on there. It's cut beautifully too. Okay, so there's that. And just keep on kind of going through these pieces. Find the ones that match up. That's going to go like that. Fish are pretty cool. So yeah, it's whoops. Peyton's only 2.5, so he's not quite ready to fish yet. Last year when we went, we put a pool, like a little baby pool, in the boat, and as we caught little perch and such, we just kind of put him in there and let him play with the fish. It was cool. Good way to keep him occupied while we're trying to do some fishing. Doesn't always work, but fortunately, Grandma and Grandpa are coming this time, and we may actually, Liesl and I may actually get to do some real fishing without having to, you know, worry about Peyton, at least for a few hours. So that'll be nice. That would be very nice. Okay, so just going through here, matching up these pieces, these multi-layered pieces. We've got, I believe this is a gingerbread color, as well as maple syrup, I think, if my memory serves me correctly. Yeah, this one's a little, there we go. Okay, there is a mouth section here. This is a white piece. This brown piece is going to go on first. And there are little markers on this white piece to help you with the positioning of this. You can see you just got to pop it right into the little marker area there. Okay, just like that. And then there's a smaller brown piece. And it's going to go right here, and you want to align that over on the left-hand side of the previous piece that we just put down. I'm not sure what's going on with my glue bottle here. Just like that. Okay, we'll get that ready for the bass's mouth in just a moment. Here is our dorsal fin. Okay, I'm just going to use a series of little dots on this since there's a lot of little details on here. There we go. And we'll pop that right onto our gingerbread piece. There we go. Perfect. All right, we have an eyeball here as well. And we're going to go brown. Well, the yellow is going to go on top of the white. The brown is going to be the bottom layer. And then the black is going to go on top of the yellow. Oh, sorry. Let's get the yellow on the white. There we go. And let's get our black piece. And again, I know I've been talking about the circles, but boy, it's a tiny, tiny, perfect little circle. I'm so thrilled with how well my Juliet performs. There we go. That should be mostly centered, okay? And then take these 3 layers and we're going to center that onto the brown layer. Get that ready for Mr. Bass. Okay, so that's that. All right, let's take a look at the main part of our bass here. Okay, and I've kind of pre-layered it so that we know what we're doing, like so. We're going to start with the black layer. That's our base layer. This is, oh boy, what is this called? Glacier Mist, I think. Encore. We have all these beautiful little details on our fish. It's all going to pop through with the black, give it a nice contrast. I wouldn't worry so much about trying to get glue in between all these little sections. They will stay put, I promise you. And just lay that on there as accurately as you can. Kind of using the mouth and the fins as my guide for placement, at least initially. We'll press that down. Okay, next it's kind of going from like larger to smaller as far as the mass or the area that the cutout contains. So this one has just slightly a little bit less paper, but more than the other ones. Okay, and here we'll try to get a little bit of glue down at these little details, and then those little slivers there are part of the gills. Just try to get a little bit of glue on that so we can keep that in place. And most importantly here, just try to make sure that you line it up to preserve the little black details, the little dots on the fish. That already looks awesome. Okay, next, I've got this layer. Flip this around, start applying our glue. I'm going to say that this is probably, and that's what we aim for, the coolest, most detailed bass card available in SVG format. At least that's what I like to hope. Okay, throw a little bit on the little gill area. And again, looking at the dorsal fins first, getting those aligned, and then everything just kind of should naturally fall into place. Just take your time. Do your best. That looks awesome. Look at that. I feel like I'm fishing. Okay, next we're going with this layer here. And we get that glued down. It's kind of thin up here. Get a little bit of glue on those dorsals. Probably won't be seeing too many bass this weekend, maybe smallmouths, but hopefully maybe we'll catch ourselves another muskie. That would be great. I love hearing your fishing stories. Okay, so there's a little score line on here, okay, and that's just to allow this little fin to kind of pop out a little bit. This is going to get glued on like this, okay, and you don't need to put glue on the actual fin itself. I'm going to use a foam square to kind of hold that down against the fish while also giving it a little bit of dimension. Okay, because again, we want to try to add some nice dimension to this card. Okay, so let's line this up. This is going to give the impression of the gills. Just make sure that it's all accurately lined up. There we go. And the fin is relatively light, so it should hold up nicely. Okay, so here's where we're going to start putting our little final details in place here. We can get the mouth down. Okay, mouth is in place. Let's get the eyeball in. Okay, I'm going to have him, you want the eyeball at about, if you're looking at it kind of straight up, I'd say about 1 or 2 o'clock, like so. I think that looks good. Let's get the dorsal fin installed. Talking about, it's like I'm adding kitchen cabinets or something. Let's get it in place. There we go. What a cool looking bass. This is one of those cards where, I guess it's, subconsciously always a thing where I want to try to create something that people will want to hold on to and not throw away. I feel like sometimes certain cards are just like, you go to the store and you pick something out and it just doesn't have that same personal touch. I'm not knocking it, but you guys are card makers, you know what I'm talking about. Stuff like this where they can see that you put some time and effort into it. They're going to hold on to these kinds of cards. That looks awesome. I love it. All right, let's get this fin in place. He's going right here. Okay. Just a thin amount of glue there. Whoa, thank goodness that fell the way it did. Okay, pop that right on that white layer. Get that nice and centered. Let's grab a foam square and just flare this out towards me, peel that off, and then we can just push that up against the bass. So again, you've got a little bit of dimension there, and it's also kind of keeping it safe for us. Okay, and then a couple more fins. There's one there. This one's going to go here, and this one goes here. And then we're pretty much ready for some action via our action wobble. That looks awesome. Okay, and that's going to go there. Sweet. Okay. All right, so there's a series of little markers here, and that is to sort of help you with the positioning of our fish. It's mostly centered around this little fin. Okay, so you can see, you can use some foam squares if you want, but that's what it should look like. Okay, but we're gonna add our little action wobble now. And I'm gonna pop it there and just make sure that that's a good fit. That'll hide it. I think I need to go down a little bit. I'm gonna try to center this action wobble I'll probably put it right about here. Yeah, I think that's a good spot for it. Okay, so again, there's an adhesive backing on both sides of this. Just need to peel that off. Well, that was not as easy as I would have hoped, but that's okay. I'm going to put that right about there. Press that down, and then peel off the adhesive backing on the front. Okay. And looking at that dorsal, or that, yeah, I guess it's not a dorsal fin, it's just a fin. And it's going to go right there. Subtle, but cool. And then when they take it out, they'll notice that the bass is flopping around. It's so cool. All right, anyway. All right, so we do have an insert for this. Okay, it comes with a blank one, obviously, but we have this one, which I really love. We'll get that glued in place. And then, of course, last but not least, we have a nice coordinating envelope to go with it. And the action wobbles come in two different sizes. There's a smaller one that you can get that probably gives you a little less wobble. I went with the larger one, so that just kind of, you know, makes the fish really kind of look more natural when it's flopping around. Okay, there's your insert. Hook, line, and sinker, I'm yours. And I'm so lucky our kids call you Dad. Super cute. Nice little motif inside. There's our bass flopping around. So cool. Okay, so finally our envelope. Let me grab my bone folder because I did not crease this very well. Okay. The envelope, pretty straightforward. Just fold everything at the folds. Bring the two side flaps in first. And apply your glue at about from here. Okay, we'll start about here. Bring it down, all the way down. Same with this. Just like that. Bring the bottom up. Press that down. And you can see here we have a little guide for our bobber. Beautiful. Just a standard little float bobber, 2 layers. Throw the white on top of the red, and then we'll pop that into place, and our card is complete. So I love this card. It's essentially a little work of art, I think, and I love the action wobble. You can grab some action wobbles on Amazon. They come in a pack of, well, there's a few different options. I think we got maybe 10 for a few dollars, and it really just kind of makes it extra special. So pop that bobber on there, make sure it's straight. That looks nice. There we go. Card envelope is ready to go. And again, when they grab it, they'll notice that jumping out of the water. Super cool. So that's going to do it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please visit us on our YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button. While you're there, hit the little bell so you get notifications anytime we release a new project, whether it be paid or free. And if you make this or anything from our new bundle, I'd love to see it, and so would the rest of our community. So head over to your Facebook and do a search for Dreaming Tree Official. That's where you'll find myself and about 46 or 47,000 other dreamers that inspire us daily. So, all right, that was it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Look forward to crafting with you again.